I'm Don Mooers, and welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. There's an intriguing new program in the district, which is the cover story of this month's April Beacon newspaper. Stuart Rosenthal, editor and publisher of the Beacon, will tell us all about it, as well as several other articles that are featured in this month's edition. This is the budget season in Montgomery County, and many interested organizations are testifying to the County Council. James Koutsos, the president of the Montgomery County Association of Administrators and Principals, is here to explain his group's concerns and what they're doing about the budget. County Council is also hearing from many others about how the council should increase the budget's bottom line. Jane DeWinter, who comments on a regular basis for this program, is here to tell us about some of these other organizations and what they presented to the council. Montgomery County Students Foundation has been a part of Montgomery County Public Schools since the 1970s. And this organization has provided a way for students to prepare themselves for employment after high school. Steve Boden, Executive Vice President of the organization of the foundation, has the story of this unique program in our county. Stuart, welcome back.
Thank you.
You're always a highlight, as you know. I tell you this every month with the Beacon.
I seldom get to start off the program, though.
I know, this is exciting.
Yes,
you're off in the
yes.
cleanup or three or whatever. This is exciting, exciting. So we're talking about, I think you're here because we're talking about a District of Columbia program,
right?
Which is a national program by definition. It's our nation's capital.
You could say that.
Tell us about what this program is.
Well, actually, there is a national group called Generations of Hope, which exists as a nonprofit to help encourage intergenerational housing communities. And they got involved, I'm not sure who brought them in, but someone brought them into a DC housing project. It was originally intended for young mothers with children, young women who had aged out of the foster care system. I mean, we're talking 18 years old with kids.
Let me just add, that's not normally your readership.
No, it's not. So what is unusual about this building is they decided to make the building an affordable housing project for young mothers with children and active seniors.
Wow.
So older adults needed a place to live at an affordable rate. These women needed a place to live. And furthermore, these young mothers, when they're aged out of the foster care system, they really don't have any network of support. That's why they were in the foster care system.
Okay.
And the older adults, they sort of miss having grandchildren, perhaps, some of them, or they have a lot of experience to share and so on. So they brought them all together, and now they're in a project in a house, I mean, a four-story apartment building, I should say, where there's a tremendous amount of interaction, where the older adults help mentor the grandchildren and the children, I should say.
What types of supports, sorry to interrupt, but what types of supports are in place to kind of foster the relationship to make sure that it works?
Yes, right. It requires that. It's not. It hasn't been all peaches and cream, as they say. So, first of all, originally the building was designed just to be an apartment building. When they decided no, they were going to make this into an intergenerational one, they put in all kinds of community facilities. There's a community kitchen, there's a patio, there's a garden, there's a computer room, there's a conference area. And every floor there's a little niche with computers where the kids can sort of help the older adults learn how to use computers and whatnot, or vice versa. So first of all, they made the spaces accessible. Then they're bringing in some programs, and there's all kinds of resources in the city and elsewhere, and benefits that the young women or young mothers are entitled to, and those kinds of things help make it all function. But it takes the people. The people have to do it. So we were able to interview some of the folks there who were really behind it, some very amazing seniors, very active and inspired people who have really taken the program by the
Is there any like cutting off of being able to live there as the former foster children get older?
That's a good question. I don't know what the future holds in that sense. I doubt that would be the case, but I don't really know. I know that it's right now you have to have a certain income level to be eligible, and there's certain age requirements kind of thing, and that's all that there is as far as I know. But that's a good question.
Is it benchmarked against any other programs across the country? Any
Well,
other times it's been attempted and been
Yes,
successful?
this Generations of Hope is doing these things all over the place, and in fact, in this own area, Howard County is working on developing a similar project, but for seniors and children with autism.
Wait. So south of us, the district,
Yeah.
North of us, Howard.
Yeah. What's
I
going
thought-
on here in the middle?
I thought we were the center of all innovation.
We should
What is
be.
going on here?
Well, the Housing Opportunities Commission, for example, here in Montgomery,
Right.
does a lot for affordable housing for older adults. There's a lot of things happening. And they're intergenerational programs. We have interages. We have all kinds of places where
Right.
they can mingle. But as far as having a building that's designed for that, I don't think we have that here.
Now, you
in
mentioned the
Montgomery
word
County.
mingle. People can go online, mingle with the Beacon's latest stories.
They may indeed.
And how do they do that?
TheBeaconNewspapers.com.
Okay.
And you can read our Washington edition, our Baltimore edition, editions going back 10 years, whatever you want. You can see me on this show in prior incarnations. There's all kinds of things. On
And
our
read,
website.
and you have fascinating. I mean, your publisher notes, your
My columns,
your
right,
columns,
right.
are unbelievable. Your
Thank you.
insight.
Is it that bad?
It's
What topics do you like to write about most? What
Well,
do you like to look for?
I
that
usually
people need to know?
highlight something interesting that's happening in the community when I can. But this month, since there's the election coming on, the primary and whatnot, I decided to write about politics.
Yes, you did.
I don't we don't endorse. So I start out saying that's not what I'm doing here. But I'm talking about the
We
whole.
don't either.
Oh,
we
okay,
have that in
good.
common.
All right, good. Okay, we'll talk afterwards.
Indeed.
So it gives just people a chance to, to hear what my general ideas are about how we should be treating each other in a political season, and I don't think we are right now. So that kind of thing.
So is it a call for civility and?
I try that now and then.
reason?
It's a
Yeah.
lone voice in the wilderness, but
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
No, I'm not the only one, of course.
You see a lot of energy around specific candidates at this point locally?
I don't really want to go into it. That's why I said
Don't do it.
I tried that one year and I got really slammed. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
Let me ask you
But we
this.
do have an interesting travel section if you're interested in cruises.
There we go.
All the latest ships and stuff. It's great stuff.
But one article I saw was about these fat food.
Oh, the health article.
Right,
Yes,
the health
yes.
article. We've got a
lot
minute
of health.
left. Yeah. So
Real
tell me
quick.
about those foods.
4 foods you can eat full fat and you'll feel good about it. Okay, peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Okay. The oil in peanut butter is actually very healthy. It helps reduce cholesterol. It's good for your heart. When you get reduced fat peanut butter, they've taken the good fat out and they put in sugar, or hydrogen. But it just doesn't. What's the point of that? Salad dressings. Okay, when you're eating lots of vegetables with lots of good nutrients, a lot of those nutrients are fat soluble. They need a little fat in order to be absorbed into the body. You took fat-free dressing,
news.
you're not getting the benefits out of the salad, right?
Okay,
So
quick,
use
three
olive
more.
oil or something
Two
like
more,
that.
two more.
Okay. Well, everybody knows that eggs are not so bad for you anymore. The
Yeah.
yolk, which people are always throwing out, has half the calcium, half the protein, a lot of the calcium, lots of other nutrients. At least 1 egg a day is okay for most
Okay.
people. Talk to your doctor. And finally, milk. There's a lot of studies that have been coming out. We're all sort of surprised by this one, that full-fat milk seems to be associated with lower weight and less fat on the person than skim milk. That doesn't really make sense, but apparently it's more filling, and there are other kind of nutrients in there which are good for people, and so,
And that's the final
moderation
word.
is key.
That's the final word. Good for you. Moderation. That's Montgomery Week in Review. And that's James Koutsos, I believe, as
right.
well.
How
James,
about that?
welcome back.
Thank you. Very
So-
excited to be back.
So
with you.
principals, administrators, and the budget, it seems to me that you've got a lot in this budget.
Oh, absolutely. We've been very active. We've been able to connect with our local elected officials, connect with our membership, connect with anybody who will listen with us, our MCC PTA friends, to really talk about why the time is now to reinvest in education. And we're very excited that County Executive Leggett took a great, bold first step in this process, and we're hoping that our friends on the County Council will continue to carry the baton forward.
For you and your organization, your membership, what's the number one issue that that through this budget you want to accomplish?
The number one issue is we want to make sure children are served well in our county, and we believe that children are served well when they have a highly qualified educator in front of them, whether that be a support staff member, a paraeducator supporting the classroom, the teacher, the counselor, or an assistant principal or administrator. High quality person in front of children, working with children on a daily basis. And so we want to do everything we can to make sure that happens. And our members really are the linchpin to ensuring that educators get support through the professional growth systems, they get feedback on their work, but they're also held accountable if they're not serving children well. And so that's what we want to make sure is a big part of this budget.
How do you recommend folks from the community come out to rally around the budget and support the schools?
All this week there have been hearings at the council. That's one opportunity to come out and make sure your voice is heard and that you're supporting folks that are testifying. But another way is to keep in regular contact with our council members through email. Many of them are on Facebook and on social media. And so connecting with them through social media campaigns is also very important.
Now, my understanding is this is the first time in several years that there's been a budget coming out of the county executive that's above maintenance of effort. But I was wondering, I'm going to kind of take it a little bit, Governor Hogan has suggested that some of these things like maintenance of effort needs to have a clause in there that is when that it's relaxed when times are bad. Are you guys working on that issue at all?
The good news is I think all three associations, the teachers, support staff, and administrators have always been collaborative partners in trying to make sure that not only folks here locally, but beyond our borders in the state understand the needs of children and families in Montgomery County. And so we obviously want the governor and we want the state legislature to understand why we need funding and why we need to continue to support education.
But that wasn't her question.
Yeah, but
The maintenance of effort.
And maintenance of effort is oftentimes seen as a barrier or something that we need to be conscious of or fearful of. I think it's something that can be a starting place for the conversation of why we need to fund higher and why we need to make sure that we look at it from the perspective of enrollment. When we have enrollment like we've had 2,000 plus students a year, when we grow the way that we do and the students have greater needs, we need to make sure that the resources are available to them and not get caught up in maintenance of effort problems.
How has the increasing numbers and the stagnant funds affected the schools and the administrators? And
Well, when you have limited resources and you have to put on, and we've done this a number of years, you put on a hiring freeze because we've had to save upwards of $33 million to put forward to the next year's budget. So what that looks like is if someone vacates a position for whatever reason, we don't always fill that position again with a permanent employee. We fill it with a temporary employee, a substitute, and that impacts instruction in the classroom.
I mean, it seems that administrators, especially, not so much principals, but the administrators are the favorite attack or favorite target when we want to cut or we want to make things more efficient, more teachers in the classroom. Why do we need more curriculum police? Why do we need all this? Answer that for me from your association's perspective.
Right, so it kind of is probably very similar to putting on a quality television show. Oftentimes people in the public see the talent that's on the stage, but they don't realize all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. Our central services folks, our administrators at that level, are those types of folks. Great curriculum happens because we have great people putting that curriculum in place. Great things happen in schools because there are people to support what goes on in there, and it happens oftentimes behind the scenes. And so we can't lose the focus on why a quality product becomes so high quality.
And some of I think the most strident critics are also, they're continually calling for more accountability, have more of, the financial information out there on the website.
And how do you do that without people to do that? Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have 45 seconds left in this. What are you confident that the final budget is going to allow you to continue on your path to do more for kids, more for education in this community?
I would say I'm very optimistic. The conversations that we've been having with elected officials, they all are very aware and understand how important our children are to our future and how important and how education ties to job growth and economic development. So although I know our work is not done and I know we need to continue to connect with them, I'm very optimistic that when we come to May, we're going to see a budget that works for all of us.
What a great ending right there.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, James. Stuart, thank you from before. We'll be right back after these messages. Jane Winter, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's of course natural because we want you every time you're available.
Okay.
Now, James just told us about one part of the budgeting process with the school administrators and principals. You've been in watching from a number of other entities because the budget deals with everything.
Right.
So what can you tell us? What little tidbits?
Well, there was testimony. The first night of testimony was Tuesday. And there were
first week of April.
Right. There were a number of people coming in from various organizations supporting libraries.
Okay.
And then also
is that from that's the Knowledge is Good group?
Well, Knowledge
Faber
is
College,
good.
no.
But there were a number of points. I mean, one of the points they were making is that during the downturn, when hours were cut and services reduced and whatever, it really became so much clearer the very expanded and diverse roles that libraries play.
Sure.
And then there were a number of people testifying on behalf of Montgomery College.
Okay.
And then, of course, there was a delightful young lady who was testifying on behalf of a program called Minority Scholars Program,
Okay.
which I'm pleased to say started in my own high school, Walter Johnson, but is now in 15 high schools in the county
Okay.
and several middle schools.
And one of the founders of that program, Mike Williams, I believe he's up for Teacher of the Year within Montgomery County.
He is a fabulous guy. He has really nurtured that program, and he also, several of my own children have had him as a teacher. So
Now he's gone into another school, which is no longer WJ.
it is.
I believe he's at Kennedy High
at
School.
Kennedy
now.
High
Oh my
School. Yeah, he's
goodness!
moved to
Well,
Kennedy
now,
High School.
now I
Yep.
don't like him anymore.
And we know that because he was featured in the Sentinel newspaper.
Oh,
With,
okay. Well,
as
I
your
only
counterpart.
read
The Beacon.
The Beacon.
All right, let's
yeah.
keep going on this thing. So what are you finding? Are you optimistic? I mean, I think I heard James optimistic in his segment. Are
Yeah,
you
I am
with these different
optimistic because
sections?
what I had heard continually when I was kind of making my rounds to the council members about, my own ask, was that I think they're all willing to, because the county executive has proposed an increase in the property tax rate, which now requires unanimity on the council. That the council members were willing to vote for it, but they didn't want to suggest it.
Okay.
So it was sort of like it has to come from the county executive, and so it in fact did.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, we seem to get into these boom or bust cycles here. Is there a way that we're going to be smarter here, ask for more money, gets right sizes, I guess, with the libraries, getting them back to a point where they were before the recession, but also being able to put money away so that we're a little more stable
Right.
when
Well,
the
I mean, that's a
when the next
matter
recession
of,
comes.
having to be putting money into the rainy day fund. And I think part of it is being able to see, when you're making commitments when things are good, does that, is it an ongoing commitment? Unlike the federal government, we can't just borrow.
Is the property tax keyed to some provision for older adults who don't have rising income coming in, that they will be exempted from the increase?
Well, I don't think that there's anything different about this one. I do know that just yesterday, because there's been a new, clarification regarding that lawsuit that meant that Montgomery County had to
the
pay
Wayne
back
case.
all
Right.
those
Yep.
those taxes, that the property tax increase, county executive has just been able to lower that amount a little bit. So that
It's going to come to a level that people,
Yeah.
equates to an assets a little more than $20 a month for folks. So it's not going to be quite as substantial as many have reported it's going to be.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't know whether there's any other additional provisions. I know that there are already some provisions for people, for older people.
Is there any other source for the income besides that?
Well, besides the
Additional
property
income,
tax.
right, to increase
Well,
the
I mean,
budget.
just tax revenues in general are higher, income tax revenues, and I believe the record.
I mean, the rate's going up, is what I was asking.
Oh.
Go ahead,
You were
Steve.
talking to the libraries. Are they back to pre-recession standing, or are they?
Well, what the testimony was is that if this budget goes through, as it's been put forward, it will take them back to where they were 8 years ago,
Wow.
Yeah.
which is, good news for them. But of course, we have how many more people than we did 8 years ago. One thing that
We have about 30 seconds left.
Okay, I thought this was fascinating. There are in our Montgomery County, 810,000 people have a library card.
Wow.
That's a lot of people out of a county of a little over 1 million.
It's fantastic. I have mine. I'm on that account website every week, holding books, reserving books, looking at it, reading away. Jane, thank you very much. I look forward to having you back and letting us know how some of these battles transpired through the budget cycle. Steve, welcome. This is your first time on the show.
Yes, thank you.
And you have a program that you're with as a part of MCPS, or the foundation, that people don't know enough about. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what it is.
Yes, Montgomery County Public Schools has a lot of really great educational programs, and our area, career education, falls underneath an area where we put together three nonprofit educational foundations back in the mid-70s: the Automotive Construction, or the Automotive Trades Foundation,
Okay.
which runs a licensed used car dealership
Okay.
in Montgomery County.
That's one.
The Construction Trades Foundation, where students actually design, build, and market a single-family home in Montgomery County.
Perfect.
40th year, so we're excited to celebrate a birthday.
Perfect.
And the IT Foundation, and we started that in the mid-2004, where we do a licensed computer repair company. And there's a lot of excitement also around expanding IT and computer science within Montgomery County Public Schools.
So wait a minute. So I could come to you, I could get my house, I can get my car, and then I can get everything, all my IT needs in one place.
Absolutely. May 24th, we're going to have our cornerstone ceremony for the Construction Trades Foundation, where we're commemorating the completion of the Young American House number 40. So we hope people will come out and join us.
And people, before we get it, people can make, there's a phone number where people can learn more about this?
Yes, our office number is 301-929-2190.
Okay.
And if you're interested in buying a car, we have 3 car sales during the year. May 14th is our next car sale at Thomas Edison High School. And kids from 4 high schools actually participate in that sale. And we want to do more than just teach students a specific trade. We want to teach them about an industry as a whole.
How can you, so you're building a house, and my understanding is they build one house a year. How does that get sold? Do you do you have a real estate agent, or is there an auction? What?
Yes and yes. We've got really vibrant business partners that oversee these programs, and so they're leaders from our business community, and we have realtors and other owners of companies that advise us. So sometimes when the market is very strong, we'll actually do all the marketing ourselves. When we need some help to get it in the listing, we'll actually enlist a realtor.
These are after-school programs?
These are during school programs,
During school.
so students can actually participate as a part of their curricular program.
It's a vocational kind of program in general?
Yeah, it's a career education program, and this isn't the career or the vocational education that our parents had maybe many years ago. This is the understanding that kids need to be college and career ready. So we want to make sure that all of our students are ready to take that next step onto post-secondary education, but at the same time we want to make sure that possibly they have a way to pay for it, so the kids can go to work and go to college at the same time if they choose to.
Steve, students that have been involved in this program since it started in the 70s, there's got to be folks that have been involved, graduated, moved on. Do they come back and get involved, or do you hear success stories from them about their experiences?
We do. I wouldn't consider myself a success story, but I went through 2 of the programs, the automotive and construction.
We believe you're a
program.
success
Thank you. Thank you. We have board members who have gone on, completed the program. They own their own business, so it's exciting they come back, support the program. And so we see students in all different walks of life, so it's really exciting. The payback for us is getting to walk into a car dealership and having students come over and learn about how it really impacted their lives. And
So if I come to you, I'm not going to get an Apple IIe and a dot matrix
No.
printer, am I?
no.
What types of equipment are people able to buy?
Well, we actually sell Dell computers. Sometimes we'll have laptops, but typically we have the traditional tabletop computers and LCD displays. So we have 3 computer sales a year too, and they coincide with our automotive sale.
Who donates the equipment that you fix?
Montgomery County Public Schools is one of the largest donators of some of the computers that are restored. However, when it comes to the automobiles, we rely very heavily on the community. So if there is someone who's interested in donating a car, please call us. We'd love
Why are you
to.
looking at me? Did you see my class?
Well, we've had 2
It's ready.
producers donate cars.
Tax-deductible donation?
Tax deductible, 501c3 organization. So great opportunity to help the community, help the school system, and also help your taxes.
We have
Hopefully.
about under a minute left.
So do you have difficulty, because I'm aware that in order to be forward in some of these vocations, you need highly technical, you need to have a solid education background. Do you have trouble getting that message out to people?
There sometimes is a perception or a stigma attached to the programs. However, we've built the curriculum in such a way that it's all of the programs are very rigorous, and the students can even earn college credit while they're in the program, linking them to the next post-secondary
About 10 seconds
opportunity.
left. Your biggest needs right now?
Our biggest needs, we're always looking for students, we're looking for supporters from the business community, and we're looking for car donations. And if you have a piece of land, we'd love to build on it. So give us a call.
What a great end, Steve.
Thank you.
I want to thank all of you. What a great show for joining me today. And I want to thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Mooers, inviting you to join us again next week at this very same time.